Come on, all over the building. If that's really your testimony, just lift your voice and say, God, all I want, come on, is you to be glorified. Come on, lift your hands and lift your voice and say, that's all I want. It's for you to be glorified. Put your hands together for the praise team this morning. Thank God for the band. While you remain standing, put your hands together for the most personal, for the most touchable, greatest pastor. I don't think I know anybody that is that touchable as a leader than Dr. Ronnie Goines. Put your hands together for him. I wish I had half his energy. Amen. We thank God for him. Be seated real quickly here. I am excited. How many of you were in the first session? Just a few. Anybody watch it online? Amen. Truly this morning bless me. And I'm here this morning to now finish my assignment here to speak to the heart of the women. And so this morning I talked about women and the creation of a woman and the purpose of a woman and what a woman is assigned to do in the kingdom. And today we're going to probably one of the greatest women that most of us hear about. I tell them all the time, you can't go to a women's conference and not talk about Esther. We're going to talk about Esther, or we're going to talk about Hannah. So you can't miss those two. So get your Bible or your iPad or your iPhone or whatever you are accustomed to using, and you can stand for the reading of the word. I'm going to Esther, the 4th chapter. Esther 4, and I'm going to start at the 12th verse, and I'm going to read through the 17th verse. Esther 4 and 12. And they told to Mordecai Esther's words. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape the king's house more than all the Jews. For if thou altogether holdest thou peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Then Esther bid them return Mordecai this answer. Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me. Neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my handmaidens will fast likewise. And so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to law, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. This morning I want to, now let me just say this. If you've been in church for at least 3 days, you've heard somebody talk and preach on Esther. It's just simple. It's just really simple. But one of the things that I pray today that I am able to do in my assignment is to bring you something maybe that is fresh, maybe something that is new. Because I'm here today to wake up as every Esther in the room. Let me say that again. My assignment today, one thing that I came in the room to do today is to lift up and support, to push every Esther in the room. Well, who are the Esthers? Those are the women that God have chosen with an assignment on their lives for such a time as this. And let me tell you something. If you are truly an Esther, you should have already known it before you walked in the room. But some of you may not even realize that you are Esther, that you have an assignment on your life. I find it very strange and very ironic that in between sessions, I went out to my tape table, and toward the end, a lady came up to me and she asked me a question. She said, Dr. Capehart, may I ask you a question? And I said, sure. She said, how do I know what is my ultimate assignment? My response to her was, well, that's what I'm preaching for the next session. And she said, well, I can't stay for the next session. So then I answered. I said, what area are you attacked the most? See, we make it hard to look for our assignment. And God spoke to me a couple of years ago when he said to me, he said, the same reason that the devil wants you dead is the same reason I need you to live. Come on now. Because some of you don't realize the enemy only fights you and attacks you in the area where you are anointed. The area where God has assigned to you. Let me just say it this way. As long as when I was in the church and I was coming up in the church, I sung on the praise team. I would lead songs and everybody would just, oh, you're amazing. You are wonderful. I mean, they would just, I would sing. I wasn't delivered, but they let me sing. I still had some issues going on. So I wasn't really delivered or anything. I just had a gift. And see, you still have to be careful messing with people who are gifted, but they're not all the way worked out. And see, what we do is we kill them while they're in their process. Oh, come on. But I thank God I had a pastor that allowed me to still flow in my gift while he knew that I had issues. Why? Because he looked beyond where I was and he was able to see what I'm doing today. And so I would stand up and I would sing and everybody just loved me. I mean, people would come from around and they would request that I would sing. My ministry actually got started by singing. It didn't start by me just wanting to preach. This is the last thing I wanted to do. And everybody just loved me. I was the youth director. Everybody loved me. I mean, I was bad to the bone youth director. Every Sunday morning, I would cook breakfast for 250 children, clean up the kitchen, run upstairs and teach. I wasn't delivered, but they let me teach. And they always wanted to know why my class was packed out. It's because I knew how to capture the attention of the children. So they celebrated me. I mean, everybody wanted to be in my class. But I messed around one day and I got delivered. I stood up to sing a song and something just happened. I can't even explain it because God just said, I'm ready for you. It is your time. It is your assignment. Suddenly, the moment I then began to be the woman I was created to be, the same people that celebrated me while I was in my process, the same people that told me, girl, you are bad to the bone, those are the same people suddenly began to attack me. Suddenly, I'm like, well, didn't you just say? So I couldn't understand that. And so today I want to talk to those of you. See, let me just say this to you. Even when I was younger, I knew that God had a plan for my life. Well, let me say it like this. I didn't know that God had a plan. I just knew I was different. They called me weird. Because I didn't like a whole lot of people. They said I was standoffish. It wasn't that I didn't like a lot of people. I was just able to see through people. And I could tell if you really liked me or didn't like me. And I am not. And I wrote something down the other day. I said, I am at my best if you sit me at tables where the discussion is about destiny and not drama. I hate drama. But you put me at a table where people want to talk about purpose and assignment, I'm your girl. And so here in this message today, I came for the women. Some of you don't know why you're being attacked in a certain area. It's because God wants to do something with you in that area. God also said to me, I think it was during the pandemic, he said to me, tell the women their wealth is in their womb. Not your womb, your wound, place you've been hurt. See, most people want to run from the place you've been hurt. Let me tell you who should be over the drug ministry. An ex-drug addict. Okay. Who should be over the depression department, the mental health department? I know we need licensed counselor. And I am a counselor. My degrees are in counseling. That's all I've done. That's all I know. But I tell people what I learned in a book did not make me a powerful counselor. It's what I got delivered from. It's because I had to get over depression. And see, when I walk in a room and people can tell me, hey girl, me and my granddaughters and I, we have this saying. When I walk in the room, the first thing my granddaughters say, hey girl. And then that's what we do. But I can walk in the room and say, hey girl, to some women, and I can tell whether you're smiling or not because I'm anointed to hear pain talk. Come on now, it doesn't matter how much you say you're good, I'm fine, I'm good. I can hear your pain talking. Why? Because I remember the young girl in me that people would walk past me, see my smile, see how I looked, whatever was going on, and they thought I had it together. But it takes a trained, skilled person that has been where you are now to say, something's not right. And they don't let you stay there. They don't let you die there. So here, one of the most fascinating women in the Bible is Esther. So since it's Women Month and we're closing it out, I mean, God already knew I was going to teach on Esther. I mean, sometimes I'll stand up and he'll switch the message, but today he just allowed me to flow in what is one of probably the greatest women that I believe, even though if God would have allowed me, I would not have named the book Esther. I would not have named this book Esther. Let me tell you why. You will never be a great person. You'll never be a great queen. You'll never be a great gift or anointing without a Mordecai. I would have named this book Mordecai because I don't believe we give Mordecai the credit that is due him. Oh, Lord have mercy. Let me explain this. Let me explain this today because I came to talk to you. It is very disappointing. I am a mentor. I mentor women all over the world. But one of the things I tell my mentee, don't let me pour into you, pick you up out of the gutter, get you where you're going. You rise up and be what you were already created to be, and then act like you got there by yourself. Okay. But I see people doing that, and it breaks my heart. But here in this text, Esther. I want to show you something about Esther, but before I give you Esther, let me talk about Mordecai. Because before Esther was the queen, she was an orphan. And here Mordecai, who did not have to take on the responsibility, because the way we meet Esther is it's explaining to us that Esther was an orphan. And Mordecai, her cousin, decided he would take her in. And he would raise her. I asked God a question. You mean to tell me that there were no females, no aunties, no cousins? There was no women that could have taken this orphan girl in? I asked God, why would you let a man take in a broken girl? She was already a hot mess when he found her. Why would you let a man take her in the shape she was in? And raise her as a daughter. Here's what God said to me. I'm like, God, you mean, come on now, let's talk. You mean there are no females that saw this girl and said, I'll take her. But here comes Mordecai. And you know what God had the nerve to say to me? He said, you're thinking just like why I didn't let a woman raise her. I said, but if she's going to be the future queen, did somebody need to teach her how to do her hair? Teach her how to do her nails. I remember when I first started walking in heels, one of my pet peeves that I teach every woman that comes near me, if you're going to wear heels, you got to learn how to walk in them. Oh, no, you're not going to walk. My mama called them chopping potatoes. You know, no, you got to walk gracefully in them. You know, I mean, it's something about a woman when she wear her heels. That's a whole nother story. That's just for women, don't. And the Lord said to me, he said, you're thinking just like the women during that time. Teach how to do her nails. Teach how to get dressed. But watch what God said to me. He said, when Mordecai saw, can you imagine everybody walking past Esther? Walking past her, seeing her in her because they said she was an orphan, which means her mother had gone, her daddy was gone. She's by herself. And here comes Mordecai. And I'm sure by the time Mordecai saw her, everybody else had walked past her. What was it that made Mordecai stop and said, I'll take her? Watch this. The Lord spoke to me and he said, when Mordecai looked at Esther, he did not see an orphan. He saw a future queen. Let me say that again. When Mordecai looked at Esther, he did not see what everybody else saw. He saw something that was going to happen in her future. And he made up in his mind, if I can cultivate what's on the inside of her, if I can cover her and nurture her and bring her to healness, she'll be a powerful woman. Let me ask you something. Let me just say this to you. Some of the greatest people in the world are the ones that's been overlooked. The greatest people in the world are those that's been counted out. Why? Because when they saw you at your worst. They saw you when you were out of your mind. I'm coming out of something. I'm going into something, and I don't know whether I'm coming or going. They saw you at your worst. But I said to somebody one time, I said, the only way you can be in my space, you got to be willing to see me at my worst and still appreciate me at my best. Because if you can't handle my mess, you can't handle my mission. Oh, come on, somebody in here. People will love you for your greatness, but they will hate you for your gutter season. Watch this. I got to help some women in here today. So when Mordecai saw her, I'm pretty sure she was, listen, if you've never dealt with broken people, you don't even understand what I'm saying in this few little seconds. See, because I remember when I was having my first son, my husband decided, because the anesthesiologist came in, I asked for epidural, and the anesthesiologist came in and said, we're going to give her the epidural, but before we do that, we want to explain the procedure. If she moves or anything happens, there's a possibility she could wind up paralyzed. So my husband, in his brilliant self and his no pain self, he wasn't the one hurting. He said, we are not having an epidural. We're not having one. So he sends the anesthesiologist out of the room and said, we are going to have this baby natural. Well, I was already in a predicament that I couldn't really choke him the way I would have. So I couldn't get to him the best I wanted to. So all I could do was pick up a towel that they had there near me, and I threw it at him. I said, we are not in pain. I am. So he started reading the monitor. He said, baby, hold on. Here's coming a big one. So I'm having the baby natural. So by the time the baby was about to come, I was not myself. I began to say things to him. I called him every name I could think of. I did everything and said everything. There was no honor in nothing I said. Once the baby arrived, they placed the baby in my arms. I looked at my son and I began to cry for joy. I looked at my husband and I said, I'm sorry for everything I said to you just a few minutes ago. His response to me moved me. He said to me, as I'm there just having my first child, he said, it's okay. That was your pain talking. Oh, you didn't hear me right there. You missed what I just said. See, some of you destroy people because they spoke while they were in pain. And there were some things that came out of them that they really didn't mean, but it was their pain talking. Oh, y'all, I wish I had somebody. And I've had people that will move their children and get frustrated and I'm this and that, and you hurt my... I said, wait, if you can wait through the pain, you might discover their purpose. So it takes a trained person to understand that what they're saying right now. I threatened to leave. I called him every name there was. I'm pretty sure I even made up some names. He said, that was your pain talking. Watch this. And I'm pretty sure when Mordecai sees Esther, he sees a broken woman. It takes a strong man to take in a broken woman. Because broken women, let me tell you something, a broken woman is not herself. She will break everything around her. If a broken girl does not get healed before she enters her 20s, she will become a broken woman. If she does not get healed before she enters into a relationship, she will become a broken wife. A broken wife will break a man. A broken woman will break her children. Okay. And we let some people say that's their personality or that's who they are. No, you need to take your friend and say, let's go get healed. Because if not, you're going to destroy somebody. Let me move on. That's not my text today. That's not my text today. Let me show you Mordecai. But God showed me something about Mordecai. He said when Mordecai saw Esther, he did not see her, even though he saw her present. It was her future that activated him. It takes a strong person to be able to see someone's present, but still look beyond their fault and see if I can work with them through it, if I can do this and do that. And Mordecai takes in Esther. I asked the Lord a question. I said, why would you let a man raise the future queen? I was clueless. I was not prepared for the answer that God gave me, but it blessed my soul. He said, just like you were thinking, you're going to teach her how to walk in her heels. You're going to teach her how to dress. You're going to teach her how to do her hair. You're going to teach her how to do her nails. You're going to teach her how to bat her eyes. But watch this. He said, the reason I let Mordecai raise the future queen, he said, because if a woman would have raised her, she would have taught her how to turn the head of the king. It took a man to teach her how to turn the heart of the man. Oh, y'all. This is why some of y'all still trying to figure out how he got her. Oh, y'all. Well, you turned his head. She learned how to turn his heart. Oh, y'all ain't saying nothing. When a woman get the heart. Okay, y'all missed. Let me say that again. Because somebody like, what she say, Johnny? What she say? You over there hearing your neighbor. What in the world did she just say? He said to me, you would have taught her how to turn the head of the king. All the other women, what do you require? Well, I want pearls. I want diamonds. I want this. Esther, come along. What you need? Nothing. Because Uncle Marty, you know she called him a nickname. She didn't call him Mordecai. Marty taught me how to turn his heart. So you all go on first. And that's why I don't mind letting you go first, because I got a secret nugget. Y'all ain't saying nothing. I'm not just going for his head, because I understand anybody can turn his head, but only one can turn his heart. Y'all be seated. That might have went over somebody's head. So let me finish this. So Mordecai, he raises Esther. He sees that she has an anointing for the future. It takes a special mother to realize you are raising the future. If you hear Oprah Winfrey's story, her mother didn't know who she was raising. So she just sent her, go stay with your grandmother, go stay with your daddy, go stay here, go do that. But had she known what this broken girl was going to wind up being, she would have realized, I'm not raising brokenness, I'm raising my blessing. Oh, you're not hearing me right there. Because if I can wait this thing out, what was broken is going to turn into my blessing. And if I know how to treat her while she's broken, she will mess around and become my blessing. Let me hurry. So Mordecai, he's raising Esther. Now watch this. Now, I read the text. When Esther comes on the scene, it comes from Vashti, the first queen. And you know the story if you've been saved 3 days. If you haven't been saved 3 days, we're going to get you saved today, and you'll be able to say, I heard the story of Esther. So Esther comes on the scene because Vashti was shifted out of position. And here comes Esther. It was not Esther's idea to even enter. She doesn't know anything about it. But Mordecai says to Esther, it's your time, it's your turn. Go in and do what I have prepared you to do. Well, how do you know I'm going to do it? Because I know what's in you. Mordecai sends her in. Esther goes in and Mordecai sends her with instructions. Do not tell them who you are. Women, let me tell you, the most anointed woman is the one that knows she has top potential, but is okay with remaining in the background for a season. Okay, you missed what I said. In other words, keep overlooking me. Keep acting like I don't have a seat. Keep treating me like I'm nobody. You're going to need me tomorrow. Why? Because I'm at the bottom today, but honey, I got a coming up season. Where my chicks at in here that know people dogged you out while you were going through? But they messed around and you had to pass them on your way up. Watch this. Watch this. We're going somewhere with this. Mordecai tells Esther to go in. Esther goes in. She required nothing. Watch this. Mordecai said, do not tell them who you are. Let me tell you the hardest thing you will have to do. You will have to know you're the one, but act like you're not. Let me tell you, when I see women acting out, she did this, she did that, and I got this, and then I'm like, girl, you don't know your anointing. You don't know who you are. I can't tell y'all really what I say because when I'm talking to the women, we got cold. You know, so I said, let them do whatever they're going to do. Let them overlook you. Let them talk you. Even let them mistreat you. Because they're going to find out sooner or later they're going to need what you carry. Watch this and let me get to this. So Esther goes in. They asked her, what does she need? Nothing. But Mordecai said, do not reveal your identity yet. The hardest thing you will ever have to do is to remain concealed before it is your time to be revealed. Oh, y'all didn't say that right there. You don't have to tell everybody how powerful you. This is why it frustrates me when I see people and they'll walk up to me at a conference or they'll come up to me and they'll give me books and they'll give me stuff and then they'll give me this long presentation of who they are and if you ever need me to come and preach for you. And it just frustrates me because I'm saying, baby, if you are the one, I'll come find you. Your anointing will make me come find you. Watch this now. Watch this. So they get Esther. Esther, watch this. Here's another nugget about the Bible and the story of Esther that I want to say to every woman in here. Every woman in here, and now there is every woman in the kingdom. Let me just say this to you real quickly. I'm not an Esther. I'm not an Esther. I thought I was. But I realized I'm not an Esther. I tried to be an Esther. I just don't have Esther anointing. I am the best Mordecai you'll ever see. Because I can see a woman that's going to go further than me. And I don't get jealous of her because I know how to push her. Oh, y'all ain't saying nothing. I don't have to be the one on stage, baby, to get the blessing of your success. Because if I help you get there, come on, somebody in here. Let me give you this quick little testimony, quick little nugget. First time I went on TV, the first time I went on, which was TBN. I was going on TBN in Atlanta, national platform. They said, we want you to come. And so I had this girl to do my hair. She's doing my hair. They're going to do my makeup. They were getting me together. Baby, they were getting me together. I was just like this. I was nervous. It's my first big whatever. I was nervous and I was shaking. And so the phone kept ringing while she was doing my hair. And she was telling the people, at 9 p.m. tonight, I need y'all to tune in to TBN because I'm going to be on. So then the phone rang again. She told him again, at 9 p.m., I need y'all to tune in. Because, girl, I'm about to make it big. I'm going to be on TBN. So I'm sitting there saying, well, how do I tell her? Sweetheart, you're not going to be on TV. So the phone rang the third time. And she tells another woman, girl, don't miss it. I'm going to be on TBN. So when she hung up the phone, I was like, I can't let her keep saying that because that's a lie, first of all, and they're going to be looking for her. And so I'm sitting there, and I said to her, I said, sweetheart, you do know you're just going with me, right? You're going to be in the back, but you're just doing my hair. So you're not going to be on TV. She came from around the chair, looked me in my face, and said, oh, no, you don't understand. You got this thing messed up. I said, what? She said, no, you may be the one in the chair, but my skills is going to be on display on your head. Y'all miss what I said. So while you sitting there all pretty on stage, giving your little speech, they going to be saying, who did that chick hair? That hair is laid. Y'all ain't saying nothing up in here. They going to say, that chick look good. She got it going on. Who did your hair? Y'all miss what I said. She got me together. And I'm sitting there looking like a deer in headlights. She said, no. She said, watch this now. Because I have the ability and skill to do hair. If I let you go up there looking like a chicken, and they ask you who is your stylist, that's a hit against me. She said, so watch it now. She said, so making you look good makes me look good. Women, let me ask you something. Who are you making look good? Oh no. I need every woman in here to jump to your feet. And I need you to high five another woman. Say, I don't mind making you look good. Because if I make you look good, it makes me look good. Come on, they may see you. But if I sow into your life, if I help you get there, we both get there. Come here, woman. You. You got a couple of women that have not appreciated you. But whatever you just dropped into that bucket just released all the negative stuff that they said because they didn't know who you were. Oh, you didn't hear me. See, there's some people couldn't appreciate you in your come up. But then when you make it, everybody want to be around you. They want I'm with her. No, baby, if you couldn't be my valley sister, if you couldn't be the one with me in the valley, I don't have a seat for you at the top. Don't wait till I make it to get to know me. You might need to help me while I don't know who I am. You may need to help me while I'm broken and say, let me buy your shoes, let me buy your hair. Be seated. I got a few minutes. Watch this. That girl messed me up. Here's the other thing. Here's the other thing the Lord showed me, which messed me up. He said, I'm tired of you all telling everybody they're Esther. Y'all better hear me clearly. You know we do it. Everybody is Esther. Here's what he said to me. He said, when Esther was crowned the queen, he said, did she go in the palace alone? I said, no, the Bible said it. She took 7 handmaids. He asked me a question. He said, where did the handmaiden sleep? I said, in the palace. He said, so if your goal is just to get to the palace, that means you don't have to be the queen to sleep there. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Oh, all I got to do is make sure Esther don't drop her crown. Y'all, Esther, you need me to carry your purse? I got it, girl. Come on. You need me to carry your heels? I got you. You need me to drive you? I got you. Oh, y'all ain't saying nothing. You cry, I'll wipe your tears, girl. Why? Because when you need somebody to get to the palace, you gonna remember my labor of love. Y'all be seated. At least 5 minutes left, at least. I got 2 people timing me this time. Watch this. Let me tell you where we miss it. Y'all, if I can be just as transparent as I can. The biggest problem in the church is we don't know who each other is. So you can mishandle me because you don't know who I am. You can treat me the way somebody else. And what I see in the church is this. When somebody don't like you, you make sure everybody on the road don't like them. They haven't done anything to you, haven't said anything to you, but because you're mad, you want everybody else to be mad. And I tell people all the time, you're not going to make me hate what you hate, because when you're looking at her as a hater, I see her as a helper. She got something in her that's going to help me get where I'm going. So we're going to collaborate this thing. Watch this. So Esther gets in the palace. I'm going somewhere with this. Esther getting out in the palace. She's there with her 7 handmaids. Now check out Morty. Check out Mordecai. This is why I know I'm Mordecai. Because I don't make a good handmaid neither. I honestly don't. I'm telling y'all, I got too much Peter in me. I got too much cut anointed. I just don't have it. I tried. Don't let my cuteness fool you. I'm a cutter. I'll cut their ear off if you try to mess with somebody that I know I like. Come on, baby, I'm all over the place. So you got to have a little grace to be in the palace. But check out Mordecai. The Bible said Esther was in the palace with the handmaiden. Mordecai is sitting at the gate looking like a peasant. And he sends the queen a message. God had me to look at Mordecai sitting at the gate looking like a peasant while he's giving the queen instructions. And God said to me, you know you're bad to the bone if you can run the palace from the gate. Okay, let me try this again. Baby, I don't have to be a handmaiden. I don't even have to come inside the palace. I know what I put in your belly, and I got enough anointing to know if I speak, you gonna listen. Y'all not hearing me. The biggest problem with people now is you forget your mentors. You forget the one that rocked you when you wasn't nobody. You forget the one that paid your rent when you was in the dark. You forget the one that bought you a car. Let me say this. During my course of ministry, I bought so many cars for people. I bought houses. Oh my God. Had a group home that I ran for 8 years. Not one girl, not one woman, not one person in the group home ever paid a dime. I took my honorariums. I paid everything. I paid their bills. I paid everything that they needed. People in the church got mad because I chose to put everything new in the house. And they said, well, if you make it so comfortable, they're not going to want to leave. I said, isn't that what God do to us? He love us so he give us whatsoever we ask or think so that we will never go back to the devil. I said, these women have been through enough. They got mad because I wanted new beds and I put everything. And I said, why would I take a woman who's going through a broken situation and lay her on an old dirty raggedy bed? Let me treat her like a queen. Let me show her that somebody can love her without strings attached. That don't look for nothing back. Sadly, I wish I can say that all of them appreciated the kindness. There was a few, not many, just a few, that simply forgot that when they were walking, I bought a girl a car that got pregnant out of wedlock, and she was in college. Girl dropped out of college. Smart, beautiful girl. That girl was drop dead gorgeous. Whole life, they said, oh, my life is messed up in my life. I mean, she was whining about her life. And somebody told me about her. And I talked to her. And I said, baby, why are you? She said, I can't. I got to take care of my child. And I don't have this. And she was trying to get back and forth. And I said, okay, I'm going to help you. And I was like, Lord, what can I do to help her? And she was catching the bus in the morning, trying to get way to the college, get back, get the baby picked up, get back on the bus and go home. And I'm like, that's not. And I'm watching her. Here's what my dumb self said. I'm going to pray for you. You know what the Lord had the nerve to do, man of God, right here on the front row? He stopped me and asked me if I knew that there were no cars in heaven. He said, you do know I'm not blessing cars. I only rained down manna that time in the wilderness. He said, y'all don't know how prayer works. Prayer works when somebody prayed. I allow their prayer to keep circulating in the earth until somebody in the earth will receive the prayer. And I make you the answer to the prayer. He said, she showed up in your life for you to be the answer. I went and bought her a car. Somebody said, why would you get her a car? I said, well, y'all talked about it because Sugar Daddy bought her one. So if I want her to get away from the Sugar Daddy, older man, blessing, you know how we do. You heard what I said, you know how we do. A few of y'all ex, you know what, were like us. We got that one. We know what that meant. I said, so if I don't want her in that lifestyle, why can't I be the answer and show her, baby, I'm going to help you get to your next level. Bought her a car, she screamed, and that girl cried so. Then there was another woman. That year I bought two at my conference and gave them to the people. That year I gave that young woman a car and an old lady. I'm talking, the sister was old. And I always stick with the younger women. But that year I found out that there was an old lady raising 5 babies from her daughter that got in trouble and was in prison. And the woman was catching the bus with the 5 babies. I said, y'all, this ain't God. Where's the church? We bought pastors BMWs. We bought them Mercedes. We bought Cadillacs. I'm sick of it. Why can't we pour back into the pews? I'm just trying to show you. So we got the old lady. I went to the car lot, to the car dealer. Y'all, this don't even make any sense because when I went to the car dealer, I walked in there like all dignified with my heels on looking like I'm somebody. And I said, I'd like to speak to the owner. He said, yes, ma'am. And they took me in the owner's office. I'm walking all proper. I'm talking really proper. I mean, I had my good prop on. I mean, I was like very sophisticated. He said, how may I help you, Miss Capehart? I said, well, I'm here for you to work with me. And I want to purchase 2 cars. And I don't pay that much for them. I told him how much I had. I said, this is how much I've raised. And if you bless me to be a blessing to these ladies, your car dealership will never go under. You're going to have more than enough. Matter of fact, you're going to have more car dealerships all over. He said, what fool is in this office? I said, if you dismiss me and don't bless me, you're going to miss your blessing. He was like, blessing? I had to break it down. 101 blessing. When I left there, he gave it to me less than what I was, gave me 2 cars less than what I was. He was like, I don't know what's up with her, but to help you get on up out of this office, he told the man, he said, give her whatever car she pick out on the lot so she can go on her way. Gave those ladies, gave the old lady the car. I called the car dealer. Had my staff to call the news media. I said, have them to come out. We're going to get these cars away. They was like, why the news media? I said, because if I was out here acting a fool, the news media would be all out there trying to interview me. I said, so we need to show them that the church got another side of being good. Come on now, we got another side. And so the news media was there, and then the woman, no one knew who was getting it other than me, and I think it was 2 other people, because the Lord had also told me, go ahead and pay the insurance up on the cars for a year. Don't just give them the car. I want them to be okay when they drove out. And so I presented the old lady with the keys. She began to scream and cry uncontrollably. She comes forward to get the car, and the words out of her mouth wiped me out. She said, I just saved enough money to get a rental car to go see my daughter. It's in the parking lot. She said, I didn't have the money to go even see her, but I finally got the money and the rental car is out there. I looked at somebody, I said, get the rental car, we're going to take it back. And I gave her the keys to the car. She took the car and drove to see her daughter. They sent me back a message and said women were climbing up the wall and the rail to see the car, and said, what crazy people at a church would give your mama a car just because you got locked up? They said, I want to know those kind of people. Let me tell you, it only takes one act to change people. Mordecai understood. I may not ever get in the palace, but if I can help Esther get in there. Why? Because Mordecai understood the seat that Esther was sitting in was not just for her. That if Esther get into position, she had enough in her belly to change the world. Whoever you help, watch this now. I never help a woman, I never help a man without understanding if I help them, I'm helping myself. Mordecai sitting at the gate, he says to Esther, as I wrap this up, do not tell them who you are. And the Bible said Esther obeyed. The greatest thing you can do is listen to the voices of the Mordecai in your life. To the people that knew who you were when no one else knew you, could identify you, that can cover you. The title of the message today is, let me just give you the topic. It's cover me, but I got a subtopic. I got one shot at this. Because when Esther got in position, Mordecai said, don't tell them who you are as I wrap this up. Don't tell them your ultimate assignment. Just let them think you just a queen. Let them think you like Vashti. Let them think you like the other women. But they don't know that you are coming with an assignment to change the world. And let them just think that that's all you know how to do is wear bling bling. Esther obeyed. Watch this, which brings me to my sermon and I'm done. Esther says to Mordecai, when Mordecai sends her the message, he's sitting at the gate looking like a peasant. But I know I'm anointed to run the palace. Here's what you gonna do. And the Bible said Esther obeyed. You better listen to the voices of authority that God places in your life. First time I tried to resign in my church from my position as youth director, I went in with a letter of resignation to my pastor. He looked at me, let me do all my little spiel. I said, it's my season. My season is up. The Lord is calling me to move on. He's not like these pastors today. That old man looked at me, took my resignation, opened up his top drawer. Opened up the top drawer, put the resignation in there, slammed it back. He said, on Sunday, I need you here at 9 o'clock. Make sure the breakfast is ready. Make sure your class, because I'm delivered now. Make sure your class is ready. I'm like, Pastor, did you hear me? He said, the meeting is over. I thank God that he did not allow me to be released when he knew I was not ready. I was anointed, but I wasn't processed. Oh, y'all not hearing me? I would have messed up, made God look a hot mess. He knew if he let me go before time. I did that 3 times. All 3 times. I said, what's wrong with this man? And then finally one day he came to me. He said, it's your season now. He said, you're going to travel the world. You're going to go far. See, he didn't let me go while I still had issues and a hot temper. He didn't let me go. Watch this. One thing my pastor said, you got to have dignity. You got to have good character. Come on now. He said they got to know your name at the bank just like they do on the stage. Y'all not hearing me. He said you got to have good character in the restaurant. I had a hot temper. I would yell at everybody. The food cold. No. Don't let me go to the airport. I'm the one that they calling security on. God delivered me from all of that. I'm so calm now. Look, y'all do whatever. You want to search my bags? Okay. You want, here's what it is. It's okay. I got delivered. Why? Because I was going somewhere. Mordecai tells Esther, don't tell him who you are. Bring to the message. Now it's time. Watch what Esther do when she finds out about Haman. Let me tell you when you know you are anointed. When your enemies start multiplying. Okay, when your enemies start multiplying, get ready for your next level of elevation. When people that you have done nothing to act and come against you with a vengeance that you can't even explain, you are getting ready to go higher in God. Watch this now. Esther did something that is amazing, because I'm trying to get that spirit that Esther had. She finds out the plot of Haman. Watch what Esther did. Nowhere in the text do you see where Esther had a conversation with Haman? Wow. Y'all on Facebook getting them back. You got to go in their face and I'm going to confront you. No. Esther had so much wisdom. Young man, you beneath me. Where I'm going, you will never go, so I won't even have a conversation with you. Never conversate with people that can't match the call on your life. Oh, come on, somebody in here. Esther, when she found out about the plan of Haman, she went to the king. I'm going to the one with authority, not the one that wished they had it. Watch this. She goes to the king. Here's what she did, and I'm done for real. Let me close this. Come get this, baby. I told y'all to wave. They're not waving. They're not doing nothing.
Come on, you good.
Can I come down? Watch this. Esther is in the palace. Now that she's in the palace, it's her one shot. I want to say something to you women. That if you don't hear anything else I say, you got to learn how to maximize a moment. Okay, let me try somebody over here. The first opportunity I had when nobody knew me, I had written a song, and God spoke to me and said, you're going to sing this song. I wrote this song out of my depression the night I was getting ready to commit suicide. I wrote this song, and God spoke. I'm sitting out there getting ready to end it because church people had got on my nerves because they couldn't see my pain. And then them same people that forgot how I was really, and they didn't ask me what happened to me. They didn't care. And they were calling me names and talking about me. And I'm sitting there in all of this pain. And them same people, I would see them shouting and care. That's why shouting don't move me. If you don't have love, I don't care what you're doing. It doesn't. If you can't love a broken person and you can't pick, the old people said, I can pick them up in the spirit. And I was so broken. And I'm sitting there just broken, wounded. I said, God, how can I live beyond this? And I'm sitting there, and I didn't have my radio on or nothing. And all of a sudden, music just filled my car. And I heard like a song I had never heard in my life. And when I heard that song, it began to it was like it was performing CPR on me. Every word was like, hit me in my heart. You shall live and not die. There's greatness on the inside of you. Tears begin to stream down my face, and I was hearing the words that I wished another woman would have said to me. One that's, watch this now. I preached last Saturday about Mary and Elizabeth, and how there are no Elizabeths in the body of Christ anymore, because the Bible said that when Mary walked in the room, Elizabeth looked at her. Mary never told her who she was, but Elizabeth said, what did I do for the presence of the mother of my Savior to show up? And I asked the women a question, because the Bible said the baby leaped in the womb. I asked those leaders, it was a leadership conference, and I said to those leaders, I said, does my presence provoke you to joy or provoke you to jealousy? When I walk in the room, do you get joy because you know who I am? Or does my presence and my purpose make jealousy rise up? Why? Because you know I have the potential to be powerful. Come on, somebody in here. When you look at me, I may be a little cray-cray, but you know my potential. I may not look like I need to look, but you know my potential. And so because you see the potential of my purpose, it provokes jealousy in you. Watch this. Something crazy happened with Mary and Elizabeth. Because the Bible said Mary was the mother of Jesus. But she went for 6 months and sat at the feet of Elizabeth. I asked those women a question. Can the Marys of our society sit at your feet without you trying to take their seat? That went over your head. See, the problem I see in church is the moment you know my potential, you try to assassinate my assignment so that I'll never get there. And so you tell lies about my character. And because I'm anointed, I can't slap the fire out of you. Even though I feel like it, I can't do it because God delivered me from that. And you lying on me, y'all had meetings about me. You have ran me down to everybody that will listen. But because God said, hold your peace, I will fight your battle. It looked like it. You got people thinking that I'm scared of you. I'm not scared. I just know the level of my potential. And I'm not cutting it. I'm not getting in the gutter to fight with you. When I'm anointed to reign. Be seated. Watch this. Here's Esther, which brings me to the ultimate point of this message. Cover me. I got one shot at this. God gave me that song. That night, I closed the door of my car. I cranked the car back up. And I began to say to myself, you can live beyond this. I didn't know how I was going to do it. Have you ever been so in pain that you go to the emergency room and tell them you're having a heart attack? I was going to the emergency room back to back because I couldn't breathe. My left arm would feel like it was paralyzed, and I couldn't move it, and I'd be trying to breathe, and the pain was so deep, and I could not verbalize the pain, and I tried. But that night, God put into words in a song that matched my pain. But he didn't just talk about my pain. He talked about my purpose. He said, I'm getting ready to carry you through this. And when I bring you through this, the devil's going to hate he ever tried you. Watch this. And when I started my car and I went home, and then a lady came over to my house the next day, and I could sense in the spirit, she had a little pain on her. I sensed that she was going through something. And I said, before you leave, can I sing to you? She looked at me like I was crazy. I said, I just got this song. It don't even make much sense. I don't even know the tempo. I don't even know what key I sing. I've been singing all these years. I still don't know what key. I tell the musicians I sing in key anointed. Okay. Just find me. I began to sing the song to her in my yard. She got down in the ground and began to scream. I laid my hands on her back and I said, I don't know what you're going through, but it's not worth you dying over. I said, you're going to live. And I did it to another woman. I'm like, why is all these women freaking out crying? And then the Lord said to me, I want you to record this song. I went to the musicians of my church, the same ones that talked about me after I got delivered, but the same one that said I was so anointed while I was still struggling. As long as I was sleeping around, they said I was the most powerful psalmist. As long as I was crazy out of my mind with depression that would fight you at the drop of a hat, they told me how amazing I was. But now that I wanted everybody around me to live, they gave me a time to meet. They said, we'll help you. I would show up, excited. They wouldn't show up. I kept doing that over and over. And then a lady told me, she said, there's some white guys. She told me where the church was. She said, they have a studio in their church. I believe if you go there, they're going to help you. I walked in that day. I called. I walked in that day. I said, I got this little song. I want to record this song. I believe it's going to help people. And the young little white boy said, let's sing now. Let me hear you sing. I started singing. I didn't know he was recording. He put me in the booth. He said, just sing. All I want you to do is just sing. I'm singing. He recorded it. And there was a scrubby old white man in the corner, and he made me nervous because I don't like people looking at me. So I couldn't hardly sing. I said, what did he keep looking at? And that old fighting spirit came up on me. I said, he keep looking at me. I'm going to go over there and slap the fire out of him. His hair was longer than mine. He would just kept watching me. And I said, why is this man keep looking at me? The boy said, keep singing. When I finished singing, the white man in the corner, I walked out of the booth. He was crying. He said, I don't know you. Oh, I know you was white when I laid my hand on, but Lord help me, I'm a little colorblind. You're going to be him today, okay? I walked out of the sound booth. He walks up to me. He said, I don't know you. He said, but as you begin to sing, God told me to help you. I said to myself, not to him, what does this scrubby old white man have to help me? He said, I'm the top attorney in this city. I will be your attorney forever. You will never have to pay me a dime. He said, just meet with me. I met with him. I didn't even know what he was talking about. I didn't even know what a 501c3 was. I didn't know nothing. All I knew, I was once broken, but now I'm on my amends. He sat me down in his office with a stack of papers. He wrote this stuff. I started reading it. And I said, I don't have a school. I said, but it says right here to do a school. I said, I don't even have any of this stuff. He said, I know. God told me not to write your 501c3 for where you are. He told me to write it for where you're going. He was my attorney for 15 years. The top attorney, he was my attorney until the day he died. Everything I did legal, all I had to do was call. He said, come get your papers. He signed everything. He said, I see not just your pain. I see your potential. Shortly after I recorded that song, God spoke to me and said, you're going to sing this song and Bishop T.D. Jakes is going to be present. He's going to hear you sing. I told 10 people. Those 10 people laughed at me. One was my husband. He said, don't you ever tell anybody that because you look crazy. He hadn't been anywhere, don't nobody know you. I said, I got one person that knows me. His name is Jesus. People often ask me, I know I got to cut off, but people have often asked me, why do I wear black? It's because when God spoke to me, that was on a Friday night that he spoke to me, I told it to 10 people. That Monday, he said, go get you a black suit. I had never paid that much money for a suit. I could still see it. Oh, I was a little slimmer. But girlfriend, it was hitting in all the right places. Had a little scallop coming down, a little button coming down. Oh, it was beautiful. He told me what kind of earrings. He told me what kind of shoes. I told the lady, I said, this is a suit that I'm going to wear when I sing. And Bishop Jake's going to hear me sing. The poor lady was like, Lord. Okay, baby. Okay. I went home. I took it out of the bag. I said, honey, you see my suit? This is my singing for T.D. Jakes suit. He said, baby, the moth's going to eat that suit. In other words, it's going to hang in the closet that long. The following Saturday, I was cleaning up my house. Cleaning my house. The Lord spoke to me and said, go to Office Max. I said, I don't need any pencils. I don't need no paper. I'm not doing nothing. I'm cleaning. You don't buy cleaning supplies at the office supply. He said, go to Office Max. I went to Office Max looking just like I was looking with my cleaning clothes on. I walked into the office supply store looking cray-cray with a capital K. I'm mad because he's not giving me any more instructions but to walk. I'm walking up and down the aisles and I said, I know these people are looking at me and they think I'm about to case this store. But I'm walking. Finally, I get on one aisle. Old white man walking down the aisle. I love white people, y'all. They done helped the sister. I'm walking down the aisle. Old white man bumped my shoulder. We ran into each other. Just bumped. Well, we didn't really run it. I think I ran into him. He bumped me. I jumped back. I said, excuse you. He said, excuse you. He said, who are you? I said, who are you? Fighting spirit. This old nasty spirit rose up in me. The man looked at me and I turned around and I looked back at him. I said, oh, I'm sorry. You the preacher come on TV. I'm sorry. He looked at me and he said, who are you? He said it again. Who are you? Standing in an office supply store. He looked at me in my face and he said these words that changed my life forever. He said, I'm getting ready to bring in Bishop T.D. Jakes, and the Lord spoke to me. He said, the Lord told me don't have just my white people. He said, the Lord told me to bring in some other people. He said, who are you? Can you sing, girl? I stopped acting ghetto. Y'all, I stood straight up and proper hit me. I said, y'all just plumb crazy. I said, yes. I can sing a little bit. Then the Holy Ghost was like, the man don't care about anything else. Tell him about the song. And I said, I wrote a song. And I said, I would love if you were looking for somebody to sing. He said, well, I want to hear it first. If I like it, I'm going to invite you to sing. He said, give me your secretary's number. He took a pad out of his pocket, handed me a pen. I wrote the number down real quick. And I got in the car and I said to God, if they never called me, at least he asked me who I was. That was that Saturday. That Monday. Well, when I got home that Saturday, I called my best friend. I said, fool, when they call you, you better say, hello. This is Yvonne Capart's ministry. I didn't have no secretary. Haven't been anywhere. You think I was finna tell the man I didn't have no secretary? He said he needed to contact my secretary. I maximized my moment. I made my best friend and media secretary. She didn't know nothing about it. She didn't have no interview. They called. Said, Pastor, want the song that Sister Yvonne wrote. He wants to hear. You know how they talk. She said, yes, sir. Yes, thank you. Send it to him. They called back. He wants Sister Yvonne on program. Don't clap yet. Don't clap yet. This time I told no one. Sister Yvonne on program. Because see, them demons had already laughed. So now I'm not telling y'all crazy self nothing. I showed up and God said, I don't want you to go in the back. I want you to show up and walk down the front. I got in, Lord, the building was so big. I got in there and I walked to the front. I walked in and I walked down the aisle. And before I got halfway down the aisle, the person that tried their best to kill me was sitting to my left. I heard them say, where does she think she going? Something hit my spirit. A stride got in me. I walked to the front and I was like, God, please don't let this be a joke. I got to the front. A young white man came. He said, are you Sister Yvonne? I took a deep breath. I said, yes. I said, where do you want me to sit out here? He took me by my hand. He said, Sister Yvonne, you have a seat up here. He escorted me to the stage. Before I got ready to sit down, the Lord said, look at your chair. I looked at my chair. They had a sign on it that said, reserved for Yvonne Capart. God spoke to me. He said, the night you tried to die, your seat was already reserved in your future. No matter how broken you were, no matter how painful it was, I wouldn't let anybody sit in a seat that I knew you would show up. That night, I'm sorry for being long, but when Esther was an orphan, sitting out of her mind, I'm pretty sure she's broken. That night when I stood on that stage, I had one shot to sing that song. I didn't have an A, I didn't have a B, I had an A song. I had one shot. I stood up with nervousness. They said my mic, I was doing this. I was so nervous. I took my hand and held that mic. And I said, God, sing through me like you've never sung. Let the words of this song minister to every broken person who thinks that they're going to die in their situation. Let them know how great they are. Let them know that they are not what happened to them. Let every queen in here know that though her crown may have dropped temporarily, let her pick it back up. Let her pick back. Listen, I took back my identity. I took back my name. I gave the devil back his shame. When I stood on that stage, I made sure I locked eye with the person that tried to kill me. When they said, where does she think she going? I didn't say anything. Baby, I just let them see I was headed to the top. Stand to your feet. Esther said to Mordecai, I'm going to the king. The words that Esther sent back to Mordecai, she said, tell the people to pray for me. Tell them to cover me. I got one shot at this. If I miss it, not just me is going to die, but everyone that I came here to represent. I realized that night when I tried to kill myself, I wasn't just going to kill me, but I was killing the women that I would mentor. The women that I would go and get. The women that I would say, girl, you know your potential. It wasn't just me that God came for that night. He came for every daughter that I would birth. He came for every platform that I would mount on. But Esther did something that I don't see the church doing. She says to Mordecai, pray for me. I got one shot at this. Let me tell you why many of us women don't make it. We don't have anybody covering us. Why? Because everybody's trying to be you. Instead of you locking eyes with the one that got the crown, I'm going to cover you, baby. Whatever's going on in your life, I'm going to make sure you don't drop it. I got you covered, because if I help you get there, I get there. I want every woman that is sitting by a woman, I want you to grab her by both her hands. Can you sing the same song we sung this morning? Nobody like you, Lord. I want you to look at her and say, today you got one shot. Come on, say it in authority. Today I'm getting ready to push you to the pinnacle of your purpose. I showed up to, come on, hold her hands. I showed up to let you know I got you covered. Come on, open your mouth for 30 seconds and begin to pray for her. Sing it. Nobody like you, Lord. There's nobody like you, Lord. Say, come on, pray for her. Pray for her. Tell her you're on your way to greatness. You're on your way to greatness. Come on, tell her you can't die today. You got destiny in your belly. Nobody like you, Lord. Nobody like you, Lord. Take it on up. Say, take it on up. Take it on up. Nobody like you, Lord. Right there. Right there. Come on. Nobody like you, Lord. Come on. If you standing by a man, tell him that we got you covered too. Drop you. There is destiny in your bones. Come on, lift your voice. Lift your voice all over this place. Nobody like you, Lord. Come on. Listen. Listen to me. I want every woman in this building that says, Dr. Capehart, I know I've been going through a crisis, but I believe today that I'm getting ready to reach the potential of my purpose. I want you to run to this altar. Angel, where's Maya? Maya, can you bring me one of my prayer shawls? Run, women, run. Sing, baby.
Nobody like you, Lord.
Come on.
Nobody like you, Lord.
You will never be the same after today. I said you will never be the same. I don't care where you've been. I don't care what mistake you made. Your mistake does not cancel out what God said for you. If God could keep my seat reserved, He will do the same for you.
Nobody like you, Lord.
You can just lower it. A few weeks ago, about 2 months ago, I do a lot of bling stuff. I do a lot of other stuff. This is one of the things that God had me to do as a sign of my healing. I do prayer tees, I do prayer shawls, I do all that kind of stuff. I pray over them, that when people wear them, they are healed. God told me that my healing was a process. I hated people. I hated the situation. I hated the woman it turned me into. But God told me, you are going to rediscover the queen you've always been. I'm going to heal you from it. And you're going to heal every woman coming after you. So I do these little prayer shawls. I do not have time nor the space to touch every woman. And I only have a few of these today. I wanted to finally heal one. There we go. Because it took me a while to get finally healed. Because God told me one day you will stand up, you will take a deep breath, and the pain will be gone. You will lay down at night without hatred in your heart. You will stand up and not have the spirit of retaliation. As they sing, I'm going to wave this prayer shawl. There are 3 teenagers though. 16 and 17-year-old, I need you to make your way to the front. Just tell the woman standing next to you, says, just excuse me. Come on, 16 and 17, make your way to the front. Come on, if you're 16 and 17, come on, girls, come on. If you're 16 and 17, run, baby. How old are you? Come on. Don't wait on nobody. 16 and 17, you tell the lady next to you, excuse me. I'm going to Destiny. You'll never be the same. For every broken mother, I was a broken mother when God gave me that song as I sat by that river, as I sat by that water, because my brokenness had caused me to start breaking my children. I didn't know how to love them. I didn't know how to receive love. Because when you're broken, you don't know how to give what you've never been given. And it's hard to give something that no one ever gave to you. And that was genuine love. But God taught me. He walked me through it. And now I'm able to love for real. As they sing, I'm going to wave this prayer shawl. And I'm going to do for you that I wish somebody had done for me. Not let me leave without knowing the queen I was and the value that was in my life. I pray right now as they sing. I want you to say, oh, you are my healer.
You are healer, Lord.
I don't know who you are,
My healer.
but I watched you walk in. I saw you when you came in as they were up singing. I said, I don't know who this chick is, but this chick right here doesn't know how powerful she is, doesn't know the value that rests on her life. In the name of Jesus, you will go places the devil has tried his best to keep you from. You will defy the odds with the glory that God rests upon you. Come on, sing it. I call you queen. I call you queen. Do you have any of those crowns that you brought to my? Can you do a crowning session of every woman that was at this altar? Can you, as a father in the spirit, crown them one day and crown them in the natural, the way God is crowning them in the spirit? He did the most powerful thing I had ever seen in my life at my conference. He brought these crowns and placed them on the women's head and said, I don't know who took your crown, but today I give it back.
know music. Oh. You are my healer. You are my healer. My God. You are my healer, Lord. You are my healer, Lord. Yes, he is. You are my healer, Lord. Nobody like you, Lord. Nobody like you. There's nobody like you. Yes, for yeah. Nobody like you, Lord. Oh, come on. I'm going to keep living, Lord. I'm going to keep living, Lord. Oh, sing it. I'm going to keep living, Lord. Oh, y'all better stop. Now take about 7 seconds, put a praise on it. Somebody put a, right there. Take you about 7 seconds right there and put a praise on it. Yeah, like your seat has been reserved. When your seat is reserved, others might try to take your seat, but they can't have a seat that's been reserved with your name on it. Ooh! Did Yvonne leave? Is she still here? Is Yvonne here? Because listen, I know, Yvonne, sis, and I know you just preach. Give me one of those unopened bottles of water. An unopened bottle. No, you good. Unopened bottle of water. Okay, open up. Now, take you a little bit. Because we cannot leave this place without at least hearing the hook or the opening of what the song was. That's what we're not gonna do. I know you ain't sung in years. Here, where's that mic? Here, because whatever God released on that woman, if that's, I know it's.
I'll try.
Take that.
I will try.
Yeah.
But the title of the song was Woman, Thou Art Loose from Thine Infirmities. He saw your shackles. I wish I could sing it, but I'm going to give you the words first. He saw your shackles. He saw your pain, but he called you anyway. He saw your abuse. He saw everything you've been through, but I'm calling you anyway. I will use you because you are the woman, and God is going to use you. And he began to just say, woman, thou art loose from thine infirmities. I loose you now. You can go forth. You shall live and be everything that God has anointed you to be. I wish I could sing the hook, and I'm going to try to sing it. I don't sing as much now because I preach more than I sing. But it just go a little something that like this. Woman, thou art loose from thine infirmities. I loose you now. You have power in me. Woman, thou art loose from thine infirmities. I loose you now in authority. And he goes, the shackles of shame. I break the shackles of shame. Next time I come, I will have my track ready and everything. But hear me, it went on to say, as I sung that song and the words, it was the words that changed my life. And he said to me, I would never be the same when he broke the chains. Wow. Every chain of shame that was around my heart that night, God broke them.
Wow.
He began to break the hatred from the hurt.
Wow.
He broke the hatred that I had for the people. He broke the shame that I had because if anybody found out. all of that began to leave me. And underneath the pain was a purpose that has never stopped. It has never soared. And when God said my wealth was in my womb, that one moment that I had that night, Bishop Jakes called me in the back, cleared the room, said, I want to say something to you. He said, the person I saw on that stage tonight, if you never change, I see you going all over the world. You will change women everywhere. He said, I see you going to Africa. He said, Africa is going to be life-changing for you. I went to Africa and preached at the largest church in Africa for 9 days. There were so many people. I'd never seen that many people. And they invited me to come in. While I was preaching, I gave the pastor a prophetic word that manifested in the service. I had never seen anything like that. Those people was like, who is this woman? But that's why the devil wanted me dead. It's because he wanted my destiny. I pray today that every woman in this building receive this word today in Jesus' name.
And even hold.
Service. Congratulations. I hope it blessed you guys. And if you were blessed, share it with a friend. And again, guys, if you were not here in person, but you like to be a part of our worship experience through giving, the options are on the screen. We love for you to partner with us. And if you've never been here live, fix that problem. Here's what we do. If you're from out of state and you're a faithful streamer here, we'd love to pay for your hotel if you ever want to come here live. We'd love to do that. Do it today. Schedule your plane ticket. We got your hotel covered to come worship here at Koinonia Christian Church live and in living color. God bless your whole life. Thank you for joining us today for worship.